Okay. So the main topic I will cover. So first topic here is garbage collector. So can anyone tell me what is garbage? Anyone? Deep Anshu, what is garbage?
Sir, garbage,
The
when
common
you
the common concept of garbage. I'm not specific with the .NET framework. The common concept of garbage.
yes, sir, when you initialize any integer or float, and like when you declare any integer or float value,
Yeah.
but sorry,
Yeah, yes, sir, please. Yes, please. You can continue.
yes, but you don't define it, then it has some garbage value.
Garbage value, very good. But the garbage collector is that when a variable is declared initialize, but your
Yeah, but not
program
you.
but program or process is not using that, so that variable consume memory. Let's suppose you have 100 variables, so not a single variable impact much more, but 100 variable impact very much. Okay, so what happened, the automatic garbage collector just swipe off the memory, clean the variable by removing or deallocating the memory. So that is also known as memory management. Just like in your Android phone, you are clean the memory. Student keep joining with the Shibhai does. Okay, right. So let's see what these are and how it's working. Again, we have question and answer session. If you're not asking question to me, then I will ask a question to you. Okay. So what is garbage collection? Let's see. The CLR also contain the garbage collector GC. uh, in this unit we have many short form: CLR, CTS, FCL, like that. So don't be confused and keep memorize these things. So garbage collector GC which run in a low priority thread and check that unreferenced dynamic allocation memory reference space. Unreferenced means that variable which is not mapped the memory. Okay, so it will pick up those variable which is unused, unmapped with the memory. It, if it is find some data that is no more referenced by any variable or reference. Reference generally comes with the here for the pointer. See, pointer is not there. Pointer or memory mapping. It reclaim and return the occupied memory back to the operating system. Means any variable is not just claiming any memory. So it reclaim memory. Say release my memory and I will use that memory for other purpose. Student keep joining. Okay, so what garbage collector do? Garbage collector just reclaiming the unused memory, and it will use this memory in some other processing. Okay, so the presence of standard garbage collector free the programmer from keep tracking of dangling data. So here, automatic garbage collector just relax the developer. Says developer, you just start developing, I will manage memory. What are those unused variable, what are those unreferenced variable, I reclaim memory and return back to you. So if you have a good memory, so you have a faster processing speed. All right, so all of you know that we need that kind of good RAM, because data is loaded RAM first, then it is used for that. So if your RAM is full, so it be time to you got irritated and you left the computer, you will listen the song. So by this, we need a memory to develop a thing. All right. Now, what is just-in-time compiler? A just-in-time compiler is a part of common language runtime in .NET. It is responsible for managing and execution of .NET program regardless any .NET programming language. So what it do? Basically, it is a part of CLR. Keep in mind, okay, because it reside inside a CLR and it responsible for managing and execution of .NET program regardless .NET programming language, because any language which is .NET compatible maybe use the JIT compiler. A language specific compiler convert the source code to the intermediate language. So I told you the first compiler, that is native compiler, or language specific compiler convert code to IL or MSIL, Microsoft Intermediate Code. This intermediate language is converted into machine code by just in time compiler. So now when you have IL, then you convert this code into native code, and which is done by the JIT compiler. This machine code is specific to the computer environment that the JIT compile runs on. So always keep in mind, if you want to produce the native code, you will use a JIT compiler. JIT compiler always take input from MSIL, that is intermediate code, and the normal program is converted by the native compiler to MSIL. So that is a flow. Keep in mind and take picture in your mind. All right. Now see the working of JIT, how it's working. The working basically JIT compiler located over here. It's a runtime. It's located over here after the MSIL and between the native code. All right. So JIT compiler is required to speed up the code execution and provide the support for the multiple platform. It working is given as follows. All right. Figure is repeated, but we are going to highlight that section which is concern my topic. All right. Always the programming layer, always the execution at last. So we are changing accordingly that. Now, the JIT compiler convert the MSIL or common intermediate language, keep in second term CIL into machine code. This is done before the MSIL or CIL can be executed. So MSIL convert into machine code on a requirement basis means the JIT compiler the MSIL or CIL as required by the whole of it. Means what are the requirement according it will compile. The compiled MSIL is stored so that available for subsequent calls if required. So whenever we use this code of MSIL, then we convert this thing. The type of JIT compiler, very important question, many times asked in your mid-sem and semester examination. So these are three types: pre, econo, and normal. So what is pre-JIT compiler? The pre-JIT compiler compile the source code is converted into native code in a single cycle. Means all code converted into single cycle. Okay, means compiles the entire code into native code in one stretch. It is not piecing. Means it is not splitting the code. Whatever the code is given, it will convert all the things in one cycle. This is done at the time of application deployment. Means more student keep joining. Okay, Nitin Kumar Singh. Alright, okay. Okay, so it is done at the time of application deployment. What is deployment? Deployment is kind of hosting or releasing the entire application for your client. Just like I make a website, I deploy my website on server. So that the thing pre-JIT compiler do at the time of deployment. It will combine all the code and give you one exe copy. Exe copy in the sense of application, window application, but it creates a configuration file uses in .NET when we have a website. All right, just like apk file you have in just like Android application. So apk file is a combination of all the pages, all the database you develop for. So at that time when you're combining or deploying the application, so it will use over here in .NET. It is called ngExe. The engine written over here, ngExe. So wherever ngExe is mentioned, you know the pre-JIT compiler used for deployment. All right. Now, what is normal JIT? Second one, the source code method that are required at runtime are compiled into machine code. Okay, that are required means not all, which are requirement, which is compiled by the normal JIT compiler. The first time they are called by the normal JIT compiler means the first time which are required, it is called the normal JIT compiler. Not all, only required thing. The source code methods that are required at runtime are compiled into machine code. The first time they are called by the normal JIT compiler. After that, they are stored in the cache and used whenever they called again. So once they compiled by the normal, they are used in a cache and they are keep calling from the memory cache. All right. So compiler will free after compiling this thing. Compiler produce native code, they are stored after compilation. So this code not go to again over here, this code calling the compiled code from the memory cache. So that is done by the normal JIT compiler. Third one is econo. Okay, the source code method that are required at runtime are compiled into machine code by the econo compiler, same as the normal. Okay, after this method are not required anymore, they are removed. Okay, so once they are compiled, they are not compiling again and again, they are removed. Here we are talking about the methods, because on the object oriented programming run everything inside a method. Every work, every process is done is by the method. All right, so it is a use a technical term method. So there are functions or procedures. So I think this slide is by mistakenly put. Yes, assembly. The next topic is assembly. Assembling is when you make a different kind of application. Okay, so you have different pages inside that, different window form. So when you do release of that one, you are making a exe file of that one. You are making a APK of the. You are combining all the things. So that combining process known as the assemblies. An assembly is a building block of .NET framework application. It is basically a compiled code that can be executed by the CLR. Okay, an assembly is a collection of types and resources. Assembly is a collection of type and resources that are built to work together from the logical unit of functionality. Means, as I told you, all the things are combining, because you are going to release, you are going to exe file, you are creating APK file, so you are combining all the things. An assembly can be DLL or exe. So two things important are here. Assembly can be exe. One thing is executable code. Keep in mind, when anything is main function and any code contain the main function, that convert into exe part. When any code is not contain the main function, that convert the DLL file, dynamic link library. Depend upon the project that we choose. All right. Assembly are basically of the following two types: private assembly and shared assembly. So what is a private assembly? It is an assembly that are being used by a single application only. So no, the private terms, it is single application only. Okay, only one application is here. Suppose we have a project which refer to DLL, dynamic link library, which do not have the main function. When we have a main function, always operating system execute the code. OS will always find a main function, because main function is starting point. So without any code, without any compiled code, we don't have any main function known as DLL in Windows or .NET framework. So we build that project, that, that DLL will be copied to the bin folder of our project. So if you any want to do any specific task, just like I'm giving you live example, sometimes we have to create a PDF, and for PDF there is a no direct tool. So what we do, there is some compatible code with the .NET framework which available in the form of DLL. What they do, what data shown on your form, they will convert to PDF. So what we do, we have a bin folder. When we create a code, I will show you where a bin folder. So if we want to make a PDF of given data, which is accessed from database, just like your PDF of your examination form is created. So how it is created is third party app. All right. So we use that kind of PDF DLL, which do my PDF, which create my PDF of a given data. So I will load that PDF, so DLL, in my bin folder, binary folder. As you see when you do the bin programming, sorry, C programming. So all the files, C files, or it's a object file, in C programming turbo C folder, associate in the bin folder. So bin folder in any programming contain very important file. One of these is DLL. DLL is a third party .NET compiler, .NET compatible code which provide the extra enhanced to your code. So that DLL become the private assembly because it is inside a bin folder, so other project will not access this one. Within our projects, generally the DLLs are means for a specific project are the private assembly. Okay, so keep in mind the assembly which work on a simply a single project known as a private assembly, and these DLL files always keeps in the bin folder of that particular project. That's it. Now what is shared folder? Assembly that can be used more than one projects are known as to be shared assembly. Shared assembly are generally stored at GAC. Okay, the private assembly is kept in bin folder. These things are installed in GAC. So what is GAC? GAC stands for Global Assembly Cache. Means just like a bin folder, it is a private one. We have a one globalized thing where we allot everything, and every project can access that assemblies. Okay, it is a memory that used to store the assembly that are meant used for the various application. So the assembly which are can be used for different application projects, so that are stored in GAC. All right, so assembly that are installed in GAC are made available to all .NET application on that machine. So what is shared assembly? Shared assembly are those assembly which are used for the all projects and they are stored in GAC. Also, what is difference between private and shared? So private assembly used for the one application stored in bin folder. Shared assembly are stored in GAC and it is used for the all projects. So what is the satellite assembly? And satellite assembly contain only static object just like image and other non-executable file lookout for the application. Just like you want to associate any image in your form, Windows app, everything. So these contain the static object, not changing object like image. All right, that is satellite assembly. So that is for all about the unit number one. These are the theoretical unit. No practical things are there. So in number second, which is actually one, I will start the presentation and the code on the Visual Studio. So after this class, we have code on Visual Studio as well as the my presentation. We start the C sharp. C sharp is very easy language. If anyone know the Java and C++, so it's a mixture of Java and C++. Very easy. So you can ask me the question and let me take the attendance screenshot. The second thing, people are 18 to are gaib. Okay, no problem. Okay, so in question answer session, mm, let me ask the question. Okay, so what topic we have here?